All right. Our mission for this deep dive is to get into some pretty serious hardware. We're going to be decoding the Aurora DXE-218. It's a 2 to 8 HDMI 4K advanced splitter. And really, you should forget the basic consumer stuff you see on Amazon. We want to find the features that make this essential for, complex AV jobs.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you, this isn't just about splitting a signal. It's a 2-input, 8-output device that's really built for high bandwidth.
High bandwidth meaning what exactly?
We're talking resolutions up to 4K 60, so 4096 by 2160 pixels, 60 times a second. But the really key detail is the 4.4.4 color space.
Okay, let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Because 4.4.4, that's a perfect example of what separates the pro gear from the amateur stuff. What does that actually deliver for an integrator?
Well, it delivers full fidelity, uncompressed color. If you're dealing with critical applications, think high-end digital signage, medical imaging, that kind of thing. You need every single pixel to carry its own distinct color information. And that requires the full 18 gigabits per second of video bandwidth that this unit provides.
So it's a guarantee. You know you're not losing color quality when you distribute the signal. Got it. Okay, so let's move to installation efficiency, because that's where budgets get made or broken.
Yeah.
I'm looking at PoE here. Power over Ethernet.
PoE is an integrator's best friend.
Sure.
I mean, it completely eliminates the need for separate power bricks, No more wall warts and extra outlets at the install point.
So you're just using one network cable for everything.
For both communication and power, it dramatically simplifies the cabling, especially in a crowded rack. Plus, and this is big because it's powered by the network switch, you can remotely power cycle the unit. Fantastic for troubleshooting when the box is buried in a ceiling or behind a wall.
That makes the metal enclosure and the included mounting ears less of a spec and more of a promise.
Yeah.
That this thing, which is about 12.5 inches wide, is meant to be tucked away. But doesn't relying on PoE also mean you're introducing a single point of failure if the network switch goes down?
Well, that's why you always need redundancy in a professional network environment. But the trade-off for that simplified deployment and remote control is almost always worth it.
Agreed. Okay, let's pivot to the feature that, for me, solves one of the biggest headaches out there, mixing different types of displays. So say you've got a client upgrading to 4K, but they want to keep 6 of their old perfectly good 1080p monitors.
That exact scenario is why the per-port downscaling to 1080p is, well, it's the flagship feature here.
Sure, so how does that work?
It's automatic. And critically, it's independent for all 8 of those outputs. You can feed it one 4K 60 source, and it will send a perfect 4K signal to your new screens, and at the same time, a perfectly downscaled 1080p signal to your legacy screens.
So the old screens don't drag the whole system down to their level.
Exactly. It maximizes the lifespan of the existing gear while you integrate the new stuff. No compromises.
So smart.
And what's really fascinating is the intelligence layer you get through that LAN port. The 10100 megabit port. This is where the advanced name really earns its stripes.
Right, the network control. You get full diagnostics.
Full network level control. So you can manage things like individual CEC, consumer electronics control.
Which is for things like volume and power signals over the HDMI cable.
Right. And you get comprehensive ED management. That's the data handshake between the source and the display and hot plug detection.
But why does it matter that all those stats are reported per individual port?
Because if a display on port 3 fails, you don't have to send a technician out to figure out why. You can just see remotely that the port's health is bad. You can see the handshake failed. It saves a tremendous amount of time and money.
And that changes the whole business model for an integrator.
It absolutely does. You can start pricing maintenance agreements based on actual real-time data, not just a flat rate.
Yeah.
And we should also mention it's TAA compliant and tariff-free.
Which, for anyone working on U.S. government or federal contracts, TAA compliance is a must-have. So at its price point of around $898, that makes it a really accessible choice for that market. So to wrap this all up, the DXE-218 is really a triple threat. It simplifies the install with PoE, it's incredibly adaptable with that per-port downscaling, and it's future-proof with deep remote diagnostics through the LAN control.
Yeah, that's a good summary. But, it does raise a question for the future. Given that we have this level of deep per-port diagnostics available remotely, it makes you think, what if a device could provide even deeper insights, like historical metrics on how often each port was actually active versus just idle? How would that kind of granular usage data change how a big company plans its budgets and replaces its old tech? Something for you to ponder for your next big AV deployment.